What AI gives me back isn't just time though. It's the margin to actually do the pastoral work that requires me to be in the room. I want to be upfront about something before this video gets going. I write my own sermons, I always have. The teaching that comes out on Sunday is mine. The theology, the pastoral instincts, the stories, the application, AI doesn't write that for me, and it shouldn't, honestly. But here's what AI does. It handles the research and prep work that used to eat 3 or 4 hours before I even started writing. And those aren't just hours. They're the hospital visits that I was rushing through, the family dinners that I was half present for, the Saturday nights that turned into sermon writing sessions when they should have been anything but that. What AI gives me back isn't just time though. It's the margin to actually do the pastoral work that requires me to be in the room. So today I'm going to show you my real 5-step workflow. This is not a demo. This is my actual process from when I was writing my teaching for Palm Sunday. Step 1 is find the right voices. Step 2, tell Claude where you're going. Step 3, sharpen your rough points. Step 4, write it yourself. That part never changes. And step 5, bring the draft back for an audit. I'm going to show you each one of these live. Step 1, I'm working on a Palm Sunday teaching on Luke 19 right now. And the first thing I do is I ask Claude to find who has written well on this passage. Commentaries, theologians, scholars across the traditions. I'll paste that into the prompt right now. And what I'm doing here is using AI as a research librarian. It's not telling me what to think. It's pointing me toward the voices that I should be in a conversation with before I teach. This list would have taken me an hour or 2 to build, but it took Claude about 30 seconds. 2 specific names that I note here are N.T. Wright and Amy Jill Levine. Now, many of you might know Wright, but I had never seen Levine's name come up on this. Her insights on the distinction here between the den of robbers and just robbers ended up being really helpful for me in the preparation of this teaching. Step 2. After I've done some reading, I come back and tell Claude where I'm going with the teaching. Now, this is not asking it to write anything. It's just giving it context. I'll paste that prompt in now. The most important field in this prompt is where I describe my congregation. The more specific you are about who you're preaching to, the better everything comes back. Now, your version's going to look different from mine, and it should. We preach at different churches. But I want to note here that it will flag things that it thinks could be interesting theological complications for people who are in the room where I'm teaching. It demonstrates to me that Claude isn't just affirming everything that I say, it's actually thinking with me, which is important because hopefully the people coming to your church just don't think the way you already do, but rather your people are meeting people and inviting people to come to church. Step 3. Here are my rough points for this teaching, and I mean way rough. I asked Claude to give me an alternative version of each one of them alongside my original so I can decide what to keep. If you see in the prompt here, it's giving me options, not rewrites. I'm still making every call. This one right here, I'm keeping the original, and here's why. Some of the feedback I get is really good, and some of it I'll likely ignore. But that's why Claude is a thinking partner, not a pastor writing my sermon. Its feedback on point 2, for example, is really good, and I actually ended up changing the words that I had used in my teaching because of this. However, its feedback on point 4 is not something I wanted to take. I wanted to draw a distinction between the rules of religion and the pathway of love that Jesus talks about here in Luke 19, and so I left it exactly the way that I had written it. Step 4 is the one that I'm not going to demo today. Because step 4 is just me sitting with my computer and writing. It's praying, it's doing the things, the stories, the illustration, the applications, the specific knowledge of my congregation. AI has no access to that, and it can't. It's mine, and that's what makes it different between me and a computer. And because the scaffolding work has already been done, I get to this step faster and in better shape. Step 5, which is the last step, is the audit. This comes when I've already written the teaching, but before I finalize it, I bring a section back to Claude with 3 questions. Does it track with the series? Is it accessible to a first-time guest? And is anything unclear? If you note here in the prompt, it notes that it caught things that I may have missed more than once. A phrase that assumes too much, a logical jump that I didn't explain, a transition that doesn't land the way I thought it would. Specifically in this example, While I didn't paste the whole thing because it would make the video too long, it did point out that the phrase transliteration might be confusing to some in the audience. The word transliteration in my teaching is actually a quote that I'm going to use in the teaching, but it did encourage me to slow down on that part and just make sure that I explain it. While I know what transliteration is, not everyone who attends my church does. So that's it. 5 steps. AI handles the research, the reflection, and the audit. I handle the theology, the writing, and the pastoral call. The question I get is whether this is cheating. It's a great question. And I'll actually answer that directly next week because it deserves a real conversation, not a quick answer. By the way, the prompts that I use today are in a free download in the description. 10 prompts for the most common church communication tasks, including this workflow. The link is right below. Subscribe for next week and I'll see you then.